प्रविश्यामवाचं मां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्रधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं यं गुरुं हि स्वयं सत्यः प्रज्ञाभक्तिविनीतयः विहिप्तिश्चापि व्रता नित्यं तं गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। 27 बुद्ध्या सारथिना मनोरशनया संगृह्यमाणेन्द्रियस्तोमाश्वैरनुकृष्यमाणमधिरुह्यात्मा शरीरं रथम् शब्दादीन् विषयान् यतोऽनुभवति प्रज्ञानिनों ततः भोक्तारं ब्रुवते हृदिन्द्रियशरीरोपाधिसंयोगतः विज्ञानं च समाहितं च हृदयं नो बुद्धिसुतस्य चेत् वश्यास्यात् कथमिन्द्रियाश्वविततिः यद्यस्ति वश्यादु सा विज्ञानेन समाहितेन मनसा युक्तस्तु यत्सारथिः स प्राप्नोति यासितं परपदं नान्यस्तु दुस्सारथिः विज्ञानी शुचिरात्मवांस्तु पुरुषः संसारमार्गस्य तत् पारं विष्णुपदं प्रयाति न पुनः संसारमापद्यते विज्ञानेन समाहितेन मनसा रिक्तः पुनश्चाशुचिः तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं न भजते संसार एव स्थितः स्थूलादिन्द्रियसञ्चयात् खलु परः सूक्ष्मोऽर्थसङ्घो मनः तस्माच्चापि परं ततोऽपि धिषणा तस्याः परो वै महान् अव्यक्तं महतः परं हि पुरुषः अव्यक्तात् परस्तत्परं नो किञ्चित् सपरागतिः सदपरा काष्ठा हि सर्वान्तरः गूढोत्मा भुवनेष्वयं न सकलैः ज्ञेयो वृतो मायया बुद्ध्या सूक्ष्मिकयाग्र्यया पुनरयं सूक्ष्मेक्षणैर्दृश्यते विद्वान् हृद्युपसंहरेद्गिरमिदं चित्तं च बुद्धौ महत्येनाहं तं च महान्तमान्तरतमे शान्ते प्रतीच्यात्मनि. So we are discussing the meaning of this verse and we came to half the commentary. The commentary of Ramaraya for the first half was discussed in the previous class. Now I would like you to quickly recall the discussion that was carried out in the previous class by resorting to the Bhashya. So there I was mentioning to you, I actually more or less went through the Bhashya, but then in one part I actually ran a little fast. So that is something which is very interesting, because this is a very light learned audience. So I thought I will spend a few minutes there also. The mantras are Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhottman aprakashate drishyate tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. So it is for this we actually saw the commentary. Here the word gati is to be understood as avagati. So that is what Bhagavad Pada was saying right at the beginning of the commentary. So those who want to refer to Bhashya, so you may just quickly take it. There are one or two interesting things here which you may have to note down. So nanu gatischet agatyad bhavitavyam katham yasmat bhuyo na jayate iti naisha doshaha sarvasya pratyagatmatvat avagatire avagatirittyuchyate. This is what he is saying. Okay, so here the word gati should be understood as avagati. Avagati is jnana. Then he says pratyagatmatvancha darishitam indriya mano buddhi paratvena. So this Atman's nature was described. Indriya mano buddhi paratvena pratyagatmatvam darishitam. Now is the sentence which could be a little tricky. So last time I did not spend time. So I will just spend 5 minutes here. See. Yohi ganta. If you read the commentary, here it says Yohi ganta soyam apratyak grupam purusham gacchati anatma bhutam navindati swarupena. This Vakya actually has slightly different readings also. So what is the reading there? Viparyayena. Okay. Now see, this Vakya in the edition which is generally followed, Samata publication, which has to do with the Srirangam edition. The Vakya goes like this. Yohi ganta soyam apratyagrupam purusham gacchati anatma bhutam navindati swarupena tathacha shrutihi. This is how the Vakya goes. In the other version which I see, Yohi ganta saha agatam apratyagrupam gacchati anatma bhutam na viparyayena. This is the reading. What does it state here? See, this can also be brought to that meaning with a little twist. So what is being said is Yohi ganta. Normally if you just take the word, suppose you move from one place to the other place. Ganta means one who moves, goes. Yohi ganta, it can be metaphorical, it can be physical. Now let us take the physical domain. Yohi ganta saha. So what does he do? Agatam means that which has not been reached. Suppose you want to go to Gangotri. So then you may have to start from here, go to Delhi, then go to Rishikesh, then go to Uttarkasi, then go to Gangotri. Saha agatam means wherever you have not reached. Yohi ganta saha agatam. And that entity which you are going to reach is apratyagrupam. Obviously it is different from this self. Gacchati. And it is anatma bhutam. Obviously. So it cannot be atman. It is some bhuta vishesha. Anatma bhutam na viparyayena. Then it says tatha cha shrutihi anadhvaga adhvasuparayishnavaha ityadya. This shruti, it was a little difficult for me to understand this shruti. Anadhvaga adhvasuparayishnavaha. So this is stated just after one sentence. What does the sentence say? So this is viparyena drishtantaha. The shruti, adhva is marga. Anadhvaga, what do you understand? Those who do not go in the marga. So adhvasu gachanti iti adhvagaha, na adhvagaha, anadhvagaha. Right? Anadhvagaha. Then it says adhvasu parayishnavaha. Adhvasu parayishnavaha. So adhvasu, once again it says in the marga. Parayishnavaha means parayitum shilam yeshante. It is a ishnuch pratyaya, I told you. Pasahishnuhu, jayishnuhu, vardhishnuhu. There are various ishnuch. Anadhvagaha adhvasu parayishnavaha. This is the quotation Bhagavad Pada gives. Iti shrutihi. What is the shruti? So fortunately, Google helped. So I just typed. So then it came. So it is from the Itihasopanishad. Okay. There is something called Itihasopanishad. It runs to some 5-6 pages. Somewhere in between, I find this. And the mantra, full mantra goes like this. So let me quote the mantra. Brahman nidhim manasa vedayantaha. Brahman nidhim manasa vedayantaha. Pashyanto guhyam aparam parancha. This is the Purvartha. Hey Brahman, this is just an addressing word. Okay, so it is a dialogue which is happening among the various sages. Brahman nidhim. Nidhim means this ultimate Aishwarya. Okay, nidhihi. Here, nidhihi means any Aishwarya. Any wealth can be referred to as nidhi, reservoir of something. Brahman nidhim manasa vedayantaha. Understanding this, pashyanto guhyam aparam parancha. Aparam param brahmacha pashyantaha. Then it says, anadhvaga adhvasuparayishnavaha. Brahmanastu sadrisha suryena. This is how the mantra ends. Anadhvagaha adhvasu parayishnavaha brahmanaha suryena sadrisha santaha. This is a prashamsa of those people. Their nature is described by this phrase. Anadhvagaha adhvasu parayishnavaha. So this anadhvagaha should be understood as, so those who do not follow the normal track. This normal track is to just be driven by some desire and keep on satisfying the desires of the indriyas. This is the normal track. So anadhvagaha means, so those who do not keep traveling in those paths which normal people travel. So here that is what is being talked about. So here it is said, Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhotmana prakashate drishyate tvagriyaya buddhya. See, agriyaya buddhya means the mind which is focused on one thing. One thing is gaining this Atma Jnana. So for this, so you may have to keep other things aside. So in fact, there are a few mantras, couple of mantras in the in this Upanishad before this, where it says Satyena, Apihitaha, Guha, Shrutena apihito guha. Guha means this buddhi here. So the mind which is controlled through satya, through shama, through dhamma, through shruti and so on. So those people are referred to here. Te anadhvagaha. So adhvasuparayishnavaha. So this adhva should be taken as the shreyo marga. So those who do not follow the normal marga, te adhvagaha, adhvasu, in this special part, parayishnavaha. So they are basically able to transcend this. Okay? So the samsara gati, so they are able to transcend. So that is what is being quoted here. So this is viparjayena drishtanta. So here this is pratyagrupam atmanam avagachanti. So there if you go elsewhere, you see something there and you just gather some information related to some entity which is outside you, which is apratyagrupam. So here the effort is understanding the nature of one's own self. So that is what is being, and those who understand, those people will be able to transcend by choosing this Shreyo Marga and shunning the other Marga. So that is what is being said. So this is a little difficult to understand. So I thought, since I took you through this Vyakhya in the previous class, so this part I just quickly skipped over. So तथा च श्रुतिः अनध्वगा अध्वसुपारयिष्णवः इत्याद्या तथा च दर्शयति प्रत्यगात्मत्वं सर्वस्य. So it goes on. The rest was more or less explained. Now we move on to the later half of the verse. In the later half of the verse, so it basically tells you the method to be adopted by you for achieving this. For achieving this. So achieving this Atmajnana. So how do you do that? So that is what he is trying to explain in his commentary. So in the commentary, we just came up to Tameva Jnana Prakaram Darishayati. Fifth line. Page 28, 5th line. Tameva jnana prakaram darishayati. So how do you understand? Prakaram darishayati. He says, this actually is the content of the next mantra. Yached vang manasi prajnaha tadyached jnane atmani jnanamatmani mahati niyached Tadyache Chanta Atmani. This is what the mantra is. So here Ramaraya says, see, Vidvan Giram Vacham Hridi Manasi Upasamharet Niyachet. Vidvan, what is to be done by him? So Vidvan here means the one who knows the nature of Atman, or one who he is a serious seeker. So what is to be done by him? Vidvan Giram Vacham Hridi Manasi Upasam Haret. So he is basically talking of the Indriya Nigraha and Mano Nigraha. Mano Nigraha, obviously, whether it is sight or it is uttering a certain sentence, it is all driven through a certain thought process which arises inside. I want to see, so immediately go and then open up and then see, right? So a certain impulse from within sets you into motion, and then whether you want to hear or you want to see, whatever it is. See, suppose you want to suddenly see the news. So what happened to so Modi's repeal? So you want to just see. So there is a certain tendency. You just do that. That is what he is trying to say. Vidvan Giram Vacham Hridi Manasi Upasamharet. See, sometimes you may feel like, I definitely have to go and ask him why did he do this, right? So that is the impulse which comes, then comes the walk, right? So depending on the emotions, the walk will vary. Now he is saying, so you try to suppress that walk. It is all the more essential when there is a temptation to hurt others or shout at others. So there is a beautiful shloka. Tvaimai chanyat traiko Vishnu Vyartham kupyasi mai asahishnu. Repeat.
Tvaimai chanyat
traiko Vishnu.
Tvaimai chanyat traiko Vishnu. Tvaimai chanyat traiko Vishnu.
Vyartham kupyasi mai asahishnu.
Vyartham kupyasi mai asahishnu.
Vyartham kupyasi mai asahishnu. Tvaimai chanyat traiko Vishnu. Vyartham kupyasi mai asahishnu. This will be the state of a mature person. When there is a temptation to shout, after all, something made him shout at me, do something wrong to me, let me leave it. So this is with respect to people who are grown, not fellows at the age of 5. This you have to understand. The point there, you will never try. You understand? So some incorrigible fellows, if they are there is no point in showing anger. So that is where we have to use these principles. Nowadays people misuse it, or rather abuse it. Lalayet panchavarshani dashavarshani thadayet prapte tu shodashe varshe putram mitravad acharet. This is a very, very important. You know that? Repeat. Lalayet panchavarshani.
Lalayet panchavarshani. Lalayet panchavarshani.
Dashavarshani thadayet.
Dashavarshani thadayet. Dashavarshani thadayet.
Prapte tu shodashe varshe.
Prapte shodashe varshe. Prapteshu shodashe varshe.
Putram mitravadacharet.
Putram mitravadacharet. Putram mitravadacharet.
This is a very, very important piece of advice which is given by wise people. Lalayet panchavarshani. So you keep on pampering your child. If at all you can use that word. Okay. So you just lalayet. So enjoy. Okay. Whatever be the action done by that. Just Dashavarshani thadayet. From 5 to 15. Discipline him. Talk. Thadayet. That is the age in which you will gain jnana. Then prapte tu shodashe varshe. When he turns 16. Then mitravad acharayet. So then danda etc. will not work. Taking a stick and beating. So he will take 2 sticks and beat. So he is fully. So this will not work. Therefore, mitravad acharayet means it is more out of reasoning, advising, you can achieve things. Anyway, so that is something which is very important to know. So here he says, Giram. Why did I say this? Mitravadacharet, really yelling at each other does not take you anywhere. So this is very important. So here Mano, whenever there is a certain tendency, he tries to suppress it. That is what he is saying. Vidvan giram vacham hridi manasi upasamharet. It is all the more important when there is a tendency to share the dosha. There is always a tendency. Guna kirtanam nobody does. Dosha kirtanam everybody does. Takes every opportunity to do that. That is why we have this shloka. See, Guna dosho budho grindhan.
Guna dosho budho grindhan.
Guna dosho budho grindhan. Induk Indukshvela Viveshwaraha.
Indukshvela
Viveshwaraha. Indukshvela Viveshwaraha. Shirasa Shlaghate Purvam.
Shirasa Shlagate Purvam. Shirasa Shlagate
Shirasa Shlaghate Purvam.
Shirasa Shlagate Purvam. Shirasa Shlagate Purvam.
Param Kanthe Niyachati.
Param Kanthe Niyachati. Param Kanthe Niyachati.
These are very important principles to be imbibed in life. There is a beautiful example that he gives. Look at Shiva, he says. So Shiva has Garala. Kshvela means Garala, poison. And he also has Indu, so which is a beautiful piece to display. So Indu is Guna, Kshvela is Dosha. So what does Shiva do? If it is a Guna, you just project it to the entire world. If there is a Dosha, you just suppress it in Kantha, hide it. Okay? So this is with reference to others. So if it is yours, then it should be the opposite. You understand? Your Guna you should not be projecting. See? Your Dosha you should just go and say, explicitly say, I'm sorry, I have committed this mistake, this is my nature. So that you should do. Svatmanaha dosham pradarshayet. Svatmanaha gunam na pradarshayet. See, navadet. Okay. So with respect to others, see, it is like guna doshau budho grinhan. Budhaha means a wise man. Guno budho grinhan. After all, we are blessed with a certain ability to see guna and dosha in every individual. It will be there. So it is a buddhi swabhava to find both guna and dosha. But what should you do? Indukshvela viva ishvaraha shirasa shlaghate purvam. So you try to highlight the guna in others and try to suppress the dosha. See, you don't need to do. Others will know. So that is the message. So that is why this is a very important thing, because many times we are only tempted to present the dosha. See? Therefore he says, Vidvan giram vacham hridi manasi upasam haret niyachet. In fact, it is for this reason, the Raghuvamsha also they say, Satyaya mitabhashina. He says Satyaya mitabhashina. They will speak less. Why? Satyaya. Yashase vijigiphonam prajaye grihamedhinam. We speak less. Okay. Vidvana giram vacham manasi upasam haret niyachet. This yachet in the mantra should be understood as niyachet. Okay. So prayachet you can add various prefixes, but here it is in the sense of controlling. So niyachet. Okay. Then mano vyapara purvakatvad vagvyaparasya. Why he is saying mano vyapara purvakatvad vagvyaparasya? Then so there you have to split this. Mano nirvyaparam. It should not be one word. So there is a typographical error. Manaha nirvyaparam. Those who have the text, they may have to correct. Manaha nirvyaparam kratva nakinchidapi vadet ityarthaha. Manaha nirvyaparam kratva. So only if it is moving on various things, so is there a tendency? Try to control it. Nirvyaparam kratva nakinchidapi vadet ityarthaha. Okay. So in fact, most of us, if we just reflect for a moment, in our own families, இது எதுக்கு அனாவசியமாக சொல்கிறீங்க? why are you saying? if you ask, அது எப்படி சொல்லாமல் இருக்கிறது? There is a certain compulsion from inside. So people say that you have to control. That is what he said by wise people. That is what he is saying. Manaha nirvyaparam kritva. See, only when you keep on contemplating that this fellow has done, this fellow has done, this fellow has done, will there be a compulsion. Leave it, stop. Okay. Manaha nirvyaparam kritva nakinchidapi vadet. Ityartha. Idancha chittam buddhau upasamharet. Further he says, so this chittam is basically, see, so it's just various thoughts as it keeps moving. Okay, buddhau upasamharet. Buddhim nishchalam ekagram kritva manaha tatra niyached ityartha. Why? See, this is something which we have to understand. This buddhi that we are talking about, as I was mentioning in the previous class, it refers to adhyavasayatmika. So adhyavasayatmika means basically that it determines a certain faculty which enables you to determine something, and then all the thoughts go along those lines. Okay? So you have to first fix this idam lakshyam. So then various thoughts may come, so you may weigh each other and then you move on. Okay? So that is what he means by saying Nishchalam ekagram kritva manaha tatra niyached iti yenam buddhincha mahati svakarane upasamharet. So if you look at the mantra, it says, in fact in the mantra you have to know one thing, there is a dirgha, yachedvang manasi prajnaha, that is chandasam dairghyam, it should be only hrasva. Yachedvang manasi prajnaha, that is how the mantra reads, manasi ityavartha. So yachedvang manasi prajnaha tadyachet jnana atmani. So jnana atmani means jnane atmani, but jnane here should not be understood as jnapti, it should be understood as buddhi. That is why here Ramaraya says, you see, vidvan hrudyupasamharet giram idam chittancha buddhau. Understand? See? So chittancha buddhau. Oh, in the verse also there is a typo. I think you would have corrected. It should be buddhau, right? Corrected. Okay. Now, see here, then he moves on to say, yenam buddhincha mahati. That jnana in the mantra should be understood by the karana vyutpatti. Okay? So nyayate aneneti. So that is how you have to understand that word jnana. The word can be derived in various ways. It should be through karana vyutpatti. Okay. Now idancha chittam buddha upasamharet nishchalam ekagram kritva manaha tatra niyached ityartha yenam buddhincha mahati svakarane upasamharet. See, buddhim svakarane upasamharet. So this has to be understood a little bit. So here in the Srishti Prakriya that you see in the Vedantic text, so they will say initially the birth is one of Hiranyagarbha, and that is described as Samashti Buddhi. Okay? So from the Samashti Buddhi come all the Vyashtis, and therefore he is saying Svakaranam means, so here he should be understood as Hiranyagarbha Buddhi. See, Buddhincha Mahati Svakarane Upasamharet. In fact, Ramaraya further explains, Buddhir nama nasti kinjid vastu kintu mahaneva buddhihi mahat karyatvad buddhehe karyasya cha karanam vyatirekena asatvad iti pashyet. So this Hiranyagarbha buddhi, since it is Prathamaja, See, Purvam. After that, these things come. Okay, and therefore that can be conceived as Karana, and this Vyashti Buddhi can be conceived as Karya. Okay, so it is in that sense one has to understand. So these two Vakyas. Okay? So Karyasya Karanam Vyatirekena Asatvat iti Pashyet. See, this is the substance of it. Karyasya Karanam Vyatirekena Asatvat iti Pashyet. So then he further says, Pancha Mahantam. So this phrase is a little difficult. See, Pancha Mahantam. In the verse, if you see, we have come up to this. Vidwan Hridyupasamharet Giramidam Chittancha Buddhu Mahatyenam Tamche. So that is the phrase which he is lifting. See, Yenaham Tamcha Mahantam. Now Ramaraja interprets, see, that next word, Pancha Mahantam. So there you see, Chat Tat Karanam Avyaktancha. How do you understand this? Here that Chat means Chakarat. It is better to split it. So for convenience in reading, what you should do is, you should just Chat. Chat means the word cha which has been employed here. Chakarena ityartha. Chat means chakarena. So chakara is basically for samuchaya. In order to add something to that. So here, what is to be understood by cha? He is saying, Tat Karanam Avyaktancha. Why is Ramaraja bringing this here? In fact, you do not find this explicitly in the mantra. In the mantra, Jnanamatmani Mahati Niyachet Tadyachet Chanta Atmani. So that is how the mantra goes. So Jnanam Atmani Mahati Niyachet Tadyathe Chante Atmani. So this phrase, see, so Chat Tat Karanam Avyaktancha. So he is trying to bring in this because in the earlier mantras, so Indriyani Hayana, what is that? Indriyebhyah parahyarthaha arthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddher atma mahan paraha. You had that avyaktam. Mahatah param avyaktam avyaktat purushah paraha. So here, so the same sequence. So in order to get that, so through this itself, one can understand this avyakta also. Okay, chakarat. That is what he is trying to explain. Pancha Mahantam Chat Tat Karanam Avyaktancha Antaratame Sarvantare Shante Nistaranga Samudravat iti Bhavaha. There also you have to just put together. It cannot be Nistaranga Samudra. Okay, it should be one word. Nistaranga Samudravat. So we have this phrase, no? So there are two different senses in which we use this phrase. So if somebody keeps on postponing to do something, then in Tamil there is a phrase. Okay. So if he says, so after this is over, I will do, after this is over. Okay. Then they use the phrase, Samudrata alavonju snanam panna mudiyuma. Means, see, once the waves are all gone in Samudra, I will take bath. Is it ever possible? So when there are various other things, you have to just go ahead and do certain things. So it is, for this, they use this phrase. So here he is saying, Nistaranga Samudravat. So at that far end, Apuryamana Machala Pratishtham samudramavah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti. So it is that which he is trying to hint here. Antaratame sarvantare shante nistaranga samudravat iti bhavaha. So all these bhavanas, once they are under our control, then you will be able to enjoy the peace within. So that is why this Atma is described as Shanta Swarupa. So that is the nature of Atman. Sarvantare Shante. So Nistaranga Samudravat at a far off distance. It is like this. The Samudra can also be understood as this. So if you are just trying to interact with the shore, so with others, there can be various things which will be disturbing you. But once you go inside, that is all. So that is how this Atman. So this is, so Giram, Niyachet, etc. You just move inside and then you see the Samudra. So this Antaratame Sarvantare Shante Nistaranga Samudravati iti Bhavaha Pratichi. This we explained, okay, other day. This is Saptami. Pratichi Purne Atmani Upasamharet. So what does this all mean? So Ramaraya explains in the last couple of sentences. So why is the whole thing stated here? What is the purpose? So he says, Atmam Vyatirekena Kimapi Nasti Atmi Vedam Sarvam. See, either you have to put a semicolon or comma or a full stop here. They are all different aspects which he is trying to convey. Comma is good enough. Atmi Vedam Sarvam, one comma. Then Sarvasyapyameva Atma. That is second portion of the sentence. Then the third part is Sayeva Atma Ahamasmi iti Pashyet ityartha. This Pashyet, all of them will get connected. May you develop a vision which will help you to see all this. So what is the first aspect? First aspect is Atmi Vedam Sarvam. So that is why the entire Vedanta, if you see, all the Upanishads in some form or other form will start with this. Jagat Karanam Brahma. So that is how we will start. Therefore, Atmi Vedam Sarvam. That is aspect. Okay. Then they will be stated in different ways in different Upanishads. Idam Sarvam Yadayam Atma, Atma Vaidameva Agre Asit. Various things will state in various ways. Then Sarvasyapyameva Atma. Understand? So Sarvasyapyameva Atma. It is this Sachidananda which we are describing by the word Brahman. So Sarvasyapyameva Atma. This is the core being in every being. Ayameva Atma. And then you see Sayevahamasmi. So Sayevahamasmi. How is it possible? Only in the pure form, not in the form of this decaying Sharira or fleeting mind. Okay. Sayevahamasmi iti pashyet. That is why Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Repeatedly you say Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Okay. That is possible only when you transcend all the mind, body, sense complex and then move inner. Pashyet ityartha. This is one aspect. Yadva. Yadva means you look at slightly differently. Sarvam Atmani Pravilapya Nirvikalpa Samadhau. There also there is a typo. Okay. Nirvikalpa samadhau Svatman Svatmanyeva avatishthedityartha. Here also this is a problem. Okay. Svatmanyeva avatishthedityartha. So the other way to see is Shante Pratich Atmani. So Shante Pratich Atmani. So he says Sarvatmani Pravilapya Nirvikalpa Samadhau. The point is, one is basically through Vichara Marga. So earlier, so the three phrases that he was trying to employ here is to analyze what is being stated. So logically you arrive at some conclusion. Okay, so through some vichara. The other aspect is, so after that, so once again you cannot be doing all sorts of vicharas. You grab the substance, so and then you meditate upon it. So Sarvatmani Pravilapya Nirvikalpa Samadhau Svatmanyeva Avatishthedh Tasmat. He says Vicharena Nididhyasanena cha. He says both. Vicharena Nididhyasanena cha. So both help. So initially one has to switch from one to the other. And finally one may end up with one thing. Nididhyasanena cha atmanam pashyet ityabhiprayaha. So here I thought of actually taking you through. So this mantra is over. Instead of taking the next verse, the next 5-10 minutes, I will take you through an interesting discussion which is based on precisely these two mantras which we just now saw in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. The Brahma Sutra Bhashya presents various mantras and analyzes. Of the 4 adhyayas, the 3rd adhyaya is called Sadhanadhyaya. In fact, there is a short phrase. In half verse, you will summarize what is the content of Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Karanatvam abadhyatvam upayatvam upeyata. So what is discussed means Karanatvam abadhyatvam upayatvam upeyata. Karanatvam abadhyatvam upayatvam upeyata. Over. 16 syllables. So Karanatvam abadhyatvam upayatvam upeyata. So this Karanatvam means Brahmanaha Jagat Karanatvam. So that is the content of the first adhyaya. Abadhyatvam means the Jagat Karanatvam which you are trying to establish in the first adhyaya, that is irrefutable. Okay? There are various kinds of refutations which may be brought into fore. So all of them will be refuted. So that is abadhyatvam. Then upayatvam is basically the marga by which you can achieve this ultimate. So this is upayatvam. So that is the content of that. That is the sadhanadhyaya. Then we say sometimes phaladhyaya. So it can be described as upeya. Upeyata. Upaya. Upeya. See what is to be achieved? Upeyatvam. Karanatvam, avadhyatvam, upayatvam, upeyata. This is how it is stated. Anyway, now let us come back to the adhikarana which I wanted to briefly discuss. This adhikarana is 337. 337. So it is called Adhyanadhikaranam. The Adhikarana goes by the name Adhyanaadhikaranam. There are 2 sutras. Or, see, normally the Adhikarana is referred to by the word which is there in the sutra. So here the 2 sutras are Adhyanaya Prayojana Bhavat. Adhyanaya Prayojana Bhavat. Adhyanaya Prayojana Bhavat. Then the second sutra is Atma Shabdacha.
Atma Shabdacha.
Atma Shabdacha. There are only 2 sutras in this. A short adhikarana. Adhyanaya Prayojana Bhavat. Atma Shabdacha. So the vichara here is, in the Kathopanishad we have this mantras which we just now saw. Indriyebhyah parahyartharthebhyascha param manaha manastu para buddhihi, and so on we have. So what are these meant for? So indriyebhyah parahi arthaha, meaning etc. we saw. So the paratvam is being stated. Okay. So one is superior to the other is superior, more subtler and so on. Various things were stated. Is the mantra trying to convey you really that one is superior to other, or the import of the whole mantra is different? No. So the question is, so do they really mean that indriyas are inferior to artha? So artha is superior, it is like this, is the question. So the Purva Paksha here is, yes, so they really mean to convey that. But the Siddhanta will say no. Okay. The reason for saying no is Prayojana Bhavat. So the purpose of this mantra is stated by one word, Adhyanaya, and the other part, why it does not really convey, is Prayojana Bhavat. It is the first sutra. I will explain this little more. Okay. Then the second sutra is Atma Shabdacha. Okay. Atma Shabdacha. How does the vichara go? What happened to the Brahma Sutra Bhashya? Here it is. No, I just had. So this Brahma Sutra Bhashya, it goes like this. So here he says, I will very quickly read. It is simple. Indriyebhyah parahyartharthebhyascha param manaha ityarabhya Purushanna paranginjit sa kashtha sa paragatihi iti kathake pathyate. It is there in the katha. Tatra samshaya. What is the samshaya? Kimime sarve eva arthadayah tatastataha paratvena pratipadyante uta purusha eva ebhyah sarvebhyah paraha pratipadyate. This is the samshaya. Understand? So tatah Arthadayah tatastataha paratvena pratipadyante uta purushayeva sarvebhyah paraha iti pratipadyate. What is the import of this? Okay. Is it to say that one is superior to the other, or is it to convey that principle? Tatra tavad sarvesham eva yesham paratvena pratipadanam iti bhavati matihi. Iti bhavati matihi means naively this is how it seems to us. That there is an explicit mention. Okay, this is para, this is para. So therefore it says, Bhagavad Pada says, Sarvesham eva yesham paratvena pratipadanam iti bhavati bhatihi tatha cha shruyate idamasmat paramiti. Okay, there is a asmat param, we find it, and therefore that is how it seems. Nanu bahushu artheshu paratvena pratipipadeshiteshu vakyabheda syat. The objection here is, so if you try to convey something, so this is very, very important. See, that is how sometimes, even when we try to converse, when we take a tangential direction, consciously if you do, so then you will return back. And then you may also say that I am just taking you elsewhere and then come back. So otherwise, you will go in a different direction, right? So that is the kind of objection here. Vakya Bheda means what is the import of this, what do you want to convey to me? So you will miss out that. So therefore, he is saying, Bahushvartheshu paratvena pratipipadeshiteshu vakya bhedaha syat naisha doshaha vakya bahutvopapratte. This is a certain samadhana which he is trying to bring in. I will not get into that much. But then further he says, Purusha eva hi ebhyah sarvebhyah paraha pratipadyate iti yuktam. Yuktam means it is appropriate to decide this way, that the import of this is only that. So there is no tatparya in this paratvena pratipadanam. Why? Purusha eva hi, I will repeat, Purusha eva hi ebhyah sarvebhyah paraha pratipadyate iti yuktam. Na pratyegamesham paratva pratipadanam. Okay, not individually claiming the superiority, etc. Kasmat. Why do you say so? Prayojana bhavat. This is the Sutragata Shabda. This is how the Bhashya goes. You will just take Prayojana bhavat. So there is no point in trying to describe this. Okay. Nahi itareshu paratvena pratipanneshu kinchit prayojanam drishyate shruyate va. Purushe tu indriyadibhyah parasmin sarvanarthavratatite pratipanne. A very important, nice phrase. Sarvanarthavratatitah.
Sarvanarthavratatitah.
Sarvanarthavratatitah. This is a description of Atman. Sarva anarthavrata atitah. That is the nature of Purusha. See, you always feel that this fellow is landed into trouble, Anartha. Anarthavrata atitaha Purushaha. Sarvanarthavrata atite pratipanne. Okay. The one who has transcended all the anarthavrata. Vrata means samuha. Okay. Sarvanarthavrata atite pratipanne drishyate prayojanam. What is the prayojana? Moksha siddhi. Tatha cha shrutihi. Shruti says, Nichayatam mrityumukhat pramuchyate. See, tam purusham nichaya. Nichayatam. So understanding that. Just now we saw in Kathopanishad. Nichayatam mrityumukhat pramuchyate. That is a pratigna. So nichayatam, having understood this purusha, the nature of this purusha, mrityumukhat pramuchyate iti. Then further he says, Apicha parapratishedhena kashtha shabdena. Kashtha. So kashtha, the other day I was explaining to you. Kashtha means Vishranti Bhumi. So there you go and terminate. Okay? Seema, Vishranti Bhumi. Okay. So Saka, Saddha cha Shrutihi. Apicha parapratishedhena kashtha shabdena cha Purusha Vishayam Adaram Darshayan. Pick the Shruti. Through the use of the word kashtha, Purusha pratipatyarthaiva purva parapravahoktiriti darshayati. Darshayati means it gives you the hint. By what? By using this word kashtha. Okay. So he says Purusha pratipatyarthaiva means ultimately that is the person whom you have to understand. Purva parapravahoktihi. So pravaha is just a kind of like a cascade, one over the other. Okay, uktihi darshayati. Adhyana yeti. How do you understand the word adhyanaya? Adhyanapurvakaya samyak darshanaya. If you recall this Ramaraya's ultimate part of the sentence, he was just saying, so vichara purvakam dhyanam, both have to be done. Right? That is what he is said by Acharya. He is trying to just paraphrase. Adhyanaya, adhyanapurvakaya, samyak darshanaya. Along with nidhyasana, gaining this atmajnana. Samyak darshanaya etyarthaha. Samyak darshanarthameva hi iha adhyanam upadishyate. Natu adhyanameva swapradhanam. So adhyanameva swapradhanam. Swapradhanam means, so this is not meant for it. It is just trying to take you through some things. So as we explain some concept through some examples. Okay, this is the kind of way by which you can understand that, but there is nothing which has to be ascertained at this level, because hundreds of questions can be raised about it. So finally, Atma Shabdacha means, so in the next mantra that you have, Yesha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Gudhotmana Prakashate. After the series, we had this, right? So this Atma Shabda Prayoga is also used, and therefore this Purusha and Atma are one and the same. Okay, the Purusha is not to be understood as Jiva Purusha, but it is Atman. Okay. Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhotmana prakashate drishyate twadriya buddhya sukshmya sukshmadarshibhihi iti prakrita purusham atmetyaha. Atascha. So all these belong to the domain of anatman. So atascha anatmatvam itaresham vivakshitamiti gamyate. Gamyate means indirectly hinted. Okay. So there is nothing which is profound in trying to prove the other things. So it is ultimate Purusha. So who is to be understood. So this is how. So the point I wanted to convey was, so this Paratva Pratipadanam here. So there is, I hinted that in the previous lecture. So I thought I will just refer to that Adhikaranam also. So we'll stop here. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhi Tamastama Vidyashavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Sukhinas Santu Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om